You just might not be taking enough HCG. And I know that sounds crazy, right? There's a lot of problems with HCG. I mean, it's upregulating aromatase expression in the testicles, so you're just going to aromatize more testosterone into estradiol, which can be problematic for men on TRT, depending on their TRT dose and their lifestyle. HCG, if you're getting good quality HCG, and in my humble opinion, good quality is like Pregnal. And Pregnal is very expensive. My last batch of 10,000 IU of Pregnal HCG was $250. So there are a lot of limitations that, may prevent or may dissuade somebody from using higher dose HCG at a time, or a lot of HCG. But what I'm going to do in this video is make a point that perhaps for the sexual benefits, for the libido benefits, for the balancing of the neurosteroids, for the intratesticular DHT conversion and upregulation, for the general positive mood benefits that you get via the neuromodulatory effects of the neurosteroids that, are produced in this cascade from having functional testicles, that it may actually be a better idea, and a breakdown of actual serum HCG levels when you're microdosing HCG versus a 500 IU bolus dose of HCG, and they are substantially different, boys. All this together, I'm going to make the point that for some men, not everybody, we don't want to make general recommendations or broad brush recommendations, more HCG at a time, like a bolus dose, is going to be better. I'm going to show you the study. In the meantime, discount codes on product right now. Supercharge Dopamine, our most popular course on hacking dopamine, is 20% off. Code for that is 20 now. Biggest special on the roster is the Torque Stack is 35% off. That is for a singular purchase only. Code for that is 35 Torque, and you can find the codes and the links in the description of this video. Cortex Stack, 25% off. Code for that is 25 Cortex. And lastly, I'm a consultant on TRT, nootropics, energy optimization, sexual dysfunction, ED, host of other things. You can hire me in under a minute at livecortex.com. So this is a long thread. Let me just take us to the top here. Are we at the top? Okay, yeah. This is a thread that is titled, "What is the best dose of HCG?" Dr. Saya presents 2 case studies. Now, Dr. Justin Saya is the head MD at Defy Medical. In addition to being an MD, he's an MD that gets to work with people on TRT all the time and is the lead doctor of one of the most prominent clinics in America that is based in Tampa, Florida or something, but they ship product everywhere and deal with people all around the States. He attached this case study of the essentially breaking down the difference in serum HCG concentrations between 150 IU of HCG dosed versus 500 IU HCG dosed. So you can actually download, if you want to read this on this thread, just like type this thread right here in Google and you'll find it in this thread plus Excel mail, because that's the form that it's on. And you can download this PDF. This is where the PDF goes. There are graphs which show us the serum HCG, the serum beta HCG concentration with a 500 IU dose. This is this big green graph versus a 150 IU injection. And this is perhaps the most important part of this paper. Then we'll talk about Saya's suggestions and my suggestions on HCG, etc. This is a graph that breaks down the serum HCG in, I believe that's a milli-international units per milliliter, this measurement or this unit right here, of 150 IU injection of HCG versus a 500 IU injection of HCG. On this left column here, if I can just like highlight just that, this is the hours post-injection of HCG. So you have 0 hours, you have 8 hours, you have 24 hours, you have 48 hours, and then you've got 72 hours. With 150 IU injection of HCG, at hour 0, you have 0 milli-international units per milliliter of HCG, serum HCG in the blood. Okay, that makes sense. At hour 8, after 150 IU injection, you only have 1 milli-international unit per milliliter of HCG in the blood. At 24 hours, post-injection of 150 IU of HCG, you have 0. You have 0 milli-international units per milliliter of HCG in the blood. You have undetectable HCG in the blood after 150 IU injection 24 hours later. 48 hours later, you also have 0. 72 hours later, you also have 0. And presumably 96 hours plus later, you're going to have 0 HCG in your blood. Now let's look at the 500 IU injection. Okay, 500 IU injection renders 0 milli-international units per milliliter in the first hour, or 0 hour. Obviously, that makes sense. At hour 8, you've got 2 milli-international units per milliliter of HCG in the serum. But here's something really interesting. At hour 24, you've got 3. Right, so you have higher levels of serum HCG at hour 24 And the 150 IU injection, remember, at hour 24, you had 0. At hour 8, you had merely 1. Hour 48, you have 3 million international units per milliliter of HCG in the serum. And it doesn't go back down to what is still a detectable amount of serum HCG until hour 72, where you've got 1 million international unit per milliliter of HCG. What does this tell us? Well, what it tells us very clearly is that with 150 IU injection, which is kind of common, like people like to microdose everything these days, like whether it's cypionate or HCG, people are doing 100, 150 IU HCG, and I've done that before, and it does keep the testicles functional. I'm not sure that it's optimal, but it keeps them functional. But the reality is, with microdosing HCG, the serum concentration of HCG is very low, and only at hour 8. At hour 24, it's undetectable. You have no HCG in the serum, and it cannot be detected with such a small microdose of HCG, 150 IU in this particular case, at hour 24, obviously hour 48, obviously hour 72. Whereas with a 500 IU injection, which is a kind of a bolus dose at once for those of us that are microdosers or people that, you know, like are into the kind of some of the new age TRT stuff where we're dosing a little bit at a time, not to promote less side effects. At hour 8, you know, you've got a good bit of serum HCG. At hour 24, you've got even more serum HCG. That lasts all the way through to hour 48. You've got more HCG, probably into hour 50, 55, 56, and then it starts going down. And still at 72 hours, you have a little bit of HCG in the system. Now, how does this translate to us? Like, what does this mean? What it means is that the significant effects of HCG on testicular function, and thus intratesticular testosterone production, intratesticular aromatase expression upregulation, intratesticular dihydrotestosterone conversion, as well as the production of DHEA and pregnenolone, and the subsequent cascade of neurosteroids once they go metabolize into the brain, and how they affect GABA neurotransmitter and a bunch of other neurotransmitters, is much greater with a bolus dose of HCG per injection compared to a microdose of HCG per injection. So how does this translate in terms of effects? Like, what does this mean for people? It means that if on 100 IU or 150 IU of HCG every day, you get some marginal positive benefits regarding libido and erection quality and sensation on HCG, okay, great. Maybe leave it where it is if you're comfortable where you're at. However, if you are continuing to have problems in any of those areas, or if you're somebody who doesn't aromatize a lot because you don't drink and your diet is bulletproof and you're 10% body fat or sub 10% body fat, you will do better quantifiably, right, as the data says, on bolus doses of HCG per injection at a time versus microdosing HCG. You will ultimately have more testosterone concentrations being made intratesticularly from bolus injections at once. There's no question about that. And the blood flow optimization, which is something that we know HCG does to the male penis, as well as the whole intratesticular hormone environment. The libido optimization, which we know HCG does for a good degree of men, not everybody, right? Because it might just make them aromatize loads because they drink too much or they're overweight or something. Their TRT dose is too high. And the erectile benefits, the benefits of keeping testicles functional, which improves all these systems. As Leo said, Leo from Leo Longevity, TRT is not hormone replacement.
There is no such thing as hormone replacement therapy. It's all somewhat bullshit. When that system itself inside doesn't work, your whole sex drive doesn't work properly. That's what people like Steve and other people don't tell the truth about. When their balls shrink from using hormones for a long time and they haven't maintained them, guess what? Their orgasms are less strong. So you need this system to work. You can't replace the system.
Unless you replace the gonadotropins, you're not really doing full hormone replacement. And I fully agree with Leo on this. All the major benefits that you get from HCG, you can intensify those benefits rather than microdosing by bolus dosing at once. Now, like in this particular case, you do have to watch estradiol. You know, some people have side effects or immunogenic negatives as a result of HCG. Remember, and if you didn't know this, mother's HCG stimulates the immune system of the baby. So there is an immune system crosstalker and some sort of immunogenic reaction for some people. Some people are very sensitive to that when taking HCG. But if you're running TRT and HCG, again, as I've discussed before, I feel like I have to say everything. You know, the ester does matter. I'm doing way better on testosterone propionate than I ever did on testosterone cypionate, so maybe you need to change esters. But regardless, if you want to change one thing at a time and you're microdosing HCG, it might be a better idea if you're lacking in libido, erection, sensation, other positive benefits like the neurological or cognitive or mood benefits of TRT. Possibly you're having some additional side effects you really can't figure out maybe bolus dosing of HCG at a time is going to be better for you. Let me talk about my experience with this. Okay, so I'll just bring me back up so we can get out of this study. I'm growing. I have historically dosed pretty low doses of HCG, 250 IU every day, 250 IU every other day, 100 IU per day, 125 IU per day, basically like below 250 or 250 or below. And, you know, the best results I had was from 250 IU HCG every day. So that's 500 every other day. At 100 IU HCG every day or 125 IU HCG, I really couldn't notice a detectable difference, but it still kept the testicles functional, meaning they were bigger, load size bigger, sensation better, libido better, erection quality better. Not markedly, but noticeably. However, after I read this study and I put this out on a live stream, you know, some time ago, I changed to 500 IU HCG every other day, and it has made a noticeable enough difference. Testicular size is bigger, okay? Much bigger than it was on just 150 IU or even 250 IU a day of HCG. Again, bolus doses at once equal more serum HCG. So, I mean, I don't know how I feel about that. Like, great, fine. Like, load size definitely bigger. Sensation maybe a little better. Libido a little better. Erectile quality a little better. Again, all those things are good. I'm dialed in on propionate right now, but this all contributes. Significantly, though, my mood, probably via progesterone's action on neurotransmitters as well as DHEA and pregnenolone's action on neurotransmitters, is better on higher doses of HCG at a time versus microdosing of HCG. Doesn't mean my microdoses like made my mood shitty. Like, I was pretty fine, but like, again, I noticed a difference when things change positively. And the only experience that I've had on going from microdoses of HCG injections per day to every other day, somewhat bolus dose injections have been positive. Again, this, if you just Google the title of this thread, which is what is the best dose of HCG, Dr. Sire presents 2 case studies, I guarantee that you will find it. In fact, let's just live run that just to see. Yeah, that comes up right away. Okay, that is literally the first thing. It's on Excel Mail, which is Nelson Virgil's TRT forum. You can download the actual PDF and read the entire study with graphs right here. Look at this thing. I mean, the whole thing. And in the end of this, Saya actually suggests what he thinks may be a beneficial alternative to 500 IU every other day or 500 IU per day, where he goes, as noted previously, I believe these patterns also suggest that a dosage regimen of 250 to 350 IU on an every other day schedule would likely offer an alternative regimen for moderate, relatively steady and consistent testicular stimulation, although more data would be needed to confirm this conclusion. You know, I mentioned this on live stream like a month and a half ago, and people had a lot of interest in it. And these are the kind of distinctions that, like, I don't know, I mean, nobody has made, like nobody really talks about. The blood level of HCG does matter after injection in terms of the effects that it's going to give you. Not just intratesticular testosterone, which it definitely will raise with the bolus injections versus micro injections, but also the neurosteroids, the subsequent DHT conversion, the stuff that it does neurologically relative to your mood and other things. So I figured I'd share this paper, share that thread, give you some food for thought, because that's what this channel is about. I appreciate you being with me. Again, specials on product, 20% off Supercharge Dopamine. This is our most popular course teaching you how to hack dopamine. Everything I've learned in 15 years is in that course. Code for that is 20 now. Torque Nootropic Stack, which is a highly dopaminergic, energy-centered stack, is 35% off, and the code for that is 35 Torque. Cortex Stack, 25% off. Code for that is 25 Cortex. And yes, lastly, I am a coach on TRT predominantly these days, nootropic regimen formulation, sexual dysfunction, sexual optimization, ED, host of other things. You can hire me in under a minute. You can book me anytime you want. I'm always there to help you guys with anything relative to TRT physiology, anything that's on your mind that's within my wheelhouse. You can do that under a minute at lifecortex.com. All right, boys, it's been a pleasure hanging out with you. I hope you're having a great day. Hope you're having a great week, and I hope you're ready for the spring. Like the video if you like the video, or, I mean, you can dislike the video if you disliked it. All good, I guess. Thanks, though, pal. Also, sub to the channel. You're going to love all the detailed breakdowns and the fun that we have and the stuff that we get into that not many other YouTubers are getting into on this channel. I'd love to have your sub. I'd love to have earned your sub. All right, I hope you have a killer rest of your day, killer rest of the week, and I'll talk to you guys on the next one.